So nationally, antibody tests are coming. There have been a lot of them that have been brought into the United States from other countries, and they were not approved by the FDA. And last week, the FDA said that any test being used in the United States needed to be approved by them. And with that, we expect to see antibody testing probably within the next week or two here in Galveston County. UTMB already has a test. I think they're looking toward getting the approval from the FDA, and then there's others that plan on doing antibody testing here in the county. Antibodies are chemicals that your body makes in response to an infection. It can be either a bacterial infection or it can be a viral infection. And these are chemicals that go and they bind to the infection and then help your body get rid of it by either killing it or what we call neutralizing it, and helps get rid of it. Antibodies respond in several ways. There's an antibody response called an IgM, which occurs just as people get infected. That gets up and goes down. And then as that's going down, then another one called IgG comes up, and that helps give you more permanent immunity. And then there's a third one called IgA, which in this case is very important because it helps give you immunity in your nose and other mucosal surfaces. And so the best tests that we've seen so far measure all three of those. And if you're positive on a test that measures all three of those, what that means is that you've been exposed to the virus. And if you're negative, it means that you probably have not been exposed. Does that mean you have immunity? Not really. We don't know. And the problem with this virus is that it's new. We don't know a lot about it, but we know that other coronaviruses, the immunity does not stay around for very long, which is why people get colds year after year after year. But this virus is very different than the common cold. And so we don't know whether this is going to give people long-lasting immunity, and I think time will tell. So the antibody tests right now are not particularly accurate, and that's the problem. So basically, the way you validate an antibody test is you see whether somebody has the virus in their nose, and then you see whether they have antibodies. Well, with some of the current testing, we're seeing only 50% of the people who actually have virus in their nose have antibodies. And so that's a problem. And what the FDA is trying to do is make sure that those levels can get up to be about 90%, so we have good confidence in the result that's coming back. So that way we can say that if you had a positive antibody test, then we know that you've at least been exposed to the virus. So with any test, there's this idea of sensitivity and specificity. The sensitivity means, does it pick up the infection? The specificity means, okay, I picked up something, but is it actually an infection that I'm looking for? And currently, the tests that we've seen are not sensitive enough, so they're missing about half the infections. The most important thing to know about antibodies is that we're still learning how to measure them. So some of the tests that are out there are not particularly good. Some of the newer ones that you're going to see in the next several weeks probably are okay. I know a lot of people are very curious as to whether I had an illness in January, and now even in December we're seeing that there were some cases around. Did I have it? And I'm in the same boat. I was sick earlier in the year, and I'd like to know whether I had COVID or not. But I'm going to wait until we know that we have a good antibody test. But we expect those good antibody tests to be coming in the next several weeks. And once that happens, you'll hear announcements about it. And I think it might be a good idea to get tested at that point.